Hello, Steelers Nation, and welcome. I'm Stan Savran, a member of the Steelers nominating committee for the Steelers Hall of Honor. And it's our great pleasure to welcome in today former Steelers safety Rob Golden. Rob, good to see you again. Thanks for being with us.
Awesome, Stan, man. It's good to be here. Whenever I got a chance to connect with Steeler Nation, it's always a pleasure. So looking forward to spending a little time with you today.
Well, no doubt the feeling is mutual. Let's start at the beginning. You come to the Steelers in 2012 as an undrafted free agent out of Arizona. That must have been a disappointment for you after having a great college career.
Absolutely. Definitely just felt like I was the underdog, but it kind of put a chip on my shoulder and, gave me the confidence that I needed to have, going into training camp down in Latrobe to know that I can compete and play with the best of the best that there is. And I just, took the opportunity as once in a lifetime and ran with the opportunity and was able to have a good 6-year career with Steeler Nation. So definitely was a blessing.
Well, Rob, with your career going undrafted, I would imagine the Steelers weren't the only team that was interested in signing you. So how was it that you ended up signing with Pittsburgh?
Yes, I actually got contacted by the Miami Dolphins and the New Orleans Saints. And I received a phone call from, I believe it was Kevin Colbert, and basically just told me, if I came in and competed, I'll have a chance at making the roster, and at that time we had Troy Polamalu and Ryan Clark, was our 2 starting safeties, and they needed some backup. So I just figured that, the black and gold would be a good landing spot for me to go and compete. And it all ended up working out in my favor. So was definitely thankful for the opportunity to even be able to showcase my talents for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, that's a pretty good tandem to kind of serve as a backup. You were Ryan Clark's backup. And I would imagine the fact that both of those guys were nearing the end of their playing careers had to be enticing for you as well, because it wasn't long after Ryan left that you stepped in and filled his shoes.
Absolutely. That played a part in it, but then also just being able to play with my high school idol that I looked up to, Troy Polamalu. I share this story all the time, but my high school was black and gold, and when every Friday night, I was watching Troy Polamalu highlights before my games, and he was kind of just my inspiration on playing, in the defensive backfield. And to have the opportunity to just share the same locker room with him and be able to be groomed by him and groomed by Ryan and also Ike Taylor at the time. Those guys were like big brothers to me. And, I still keep in contact with them till this day. And I believe those are the relationships that you establish in the locker room that usually last for a lifetime. So I'm thankful to know those guys and thankful for their willingness to bring me in and welcome me as a brother when I came to the Steelers in 2012.
Well, mentioning Troy, it's so significant. He's going into the Hall of Fame this year. In all the years you played or even watched NFL football, have you ever seen anybody like Troy Polamalu?
I always tell people Troy Polamalu is a once-in-a-lifetime football player. He was so instinctive, but I tell you what, he put in the work. He's the one that taught me how to study film and how to look at tendencies and things of that nature. And even with him being able to just sit there and show me how he went about his day-to-day business, I still couldn't, duplicate what he did. So he definitely put the time in, and he's definitely a once-in-a-lifetime football player. So I'm definitely proud of him being able to enter into the Hall of Fame this year for sure.
Rob, when you came to the Steelers, obviously the great tradition not only of winning a lot of Super Bowl winners on the team that you joined in 2012, but just the great tradition of defense. Going back even before the Steel Curtain days, the Steelers were always known. And I'm wondering if that wasn't a big part of your indoctrination, saying, hey, I'm playing for a franchise that absolutely values and treasures defense.
Absolutely. Absolutely it was. And, just the culture that Coach Tomlin has established over there with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And even before Coach T, it was always hard-nosed football, where guys in that locker room know the standard. And I'm sure it's preached all the time. The standard is the standard. And, when I was able to come to the Pittsburgh Steelers, I was able to get adopted into the culture and It just fit my style of play. It fit my personality of who I am. I'm the type of guy that doesn't matter what type of job I have to do. I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And that's what the locker room usually resembles for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I was just thankful that I was able to get in with those guys and put my hand in the pile and be willing and able to contribute to a lot of games that we won. So I'm just thankful for the opportunity that I had with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, I assure you, we still hear the standard is the standard every week from Mike Tomlin. It hasn't gone away. We hear that quite a bit. I was wondering, and this may go for a lot of different players, Rob, you are a big-time college player, and yet you're coming as a backup and you're asked to play a lot of special teams. Is that a difficult transition, or did you view it as, hey, this is how I'm going to make this team?
Yes, especially for me, coming in as an undrafted guy, I just wanted to fulfill my childhood dream of being able to play in the NFL. So, if they would have told me to run through a brick wall and that is how you're going to make the team, I mean, you best believe I would have ran 100 miles per hour into that wall. But usually for a lot of guys, that come into the NFL, some of them struggle with the transition of becoming a special teams player. But some guys are just in love with football in general, and special teams is football. And anytime I got the opportunity to put a helmet on and lace up some cleats and go out there and play football, I was willing to do that. I mean, when you look back, when I was a kid, I played football in the park with basically just my friends. And sometimes we played in the middle of the street. So to be able to go out and play with the game that I love so much, in the NFL, it was definitely just a dream come true for me.
Well, one thing that struck me, you're a guy actually came back to camp every year, had to fight for his job every year. And yet the Steelers kept giving you contract after contract after contract after contract, which told me how much they valued you and the contributions you made.
Yes, as I've always said, I believe the Pittsburgh Steelers is a first-class organization from the head all the way down, and the coaches, the Rooney family, the staff workers, the kitchen workers that we had over there, everyone was just such a pleasure to work with. And, it made going into the facility every day a joyous day for me. Usually when you're playing in the NFL, some people believe that it's work, but it didn't feel like work to me. It felt like a hobby, and that's just the culture that the Pittsburgh Steelers always had. And I tell you what, once you play for the Steelers, it's hard to play anywhere else, but I was just thankful for my opportunity that I had there, and definitely value all the relationships that I was able to establish throughout my time being in Pittsburgh.
Well, Rob, everyone has highlights in their career, and I just want to mention a couple that I picked out. Your first interception against the Bengals, you ran it back for 27 yards, and the second one was the fake punt where you threw a 44-yard pass to Darius Hayward-Bay. Tell us about each of those plays.
Oh, man, I tell you what, my first interception against the Bengals, that was probably one of my favorites. In fact, I was actually filling in for, I believe one of the safeties had went down. So I was just in for that play, and I got in and I saw a formation that the Bengals was running, and I kind of knew what play was coming based off of my film study. So once I saw that formation lined up, I did what Troy told me to do and go make a play. And I was able to make a play and get that interception, and definitely was one of my highlights of my career. And then, the pass to Darius Hayward-Bay, we practiced that play ever since Danny Smith came to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, it was kind of a built-in check. When we get that opportunity or get the look, I pretty much had the green light to make the play. And if you remember back, we ran that same play in 2013 against the Cleveland Browns, and hadn't seen that look on defense or on a special teams defense ever since. But the Bengals presented it to us, and we were able to connect on it, and it was a good sealing the victory for us for that game for sure.
Something about the Bengals, something about Rob Golden and the Bengals just seemed to mesh there. The 2017 season ends. In the offseason, the Steelers release you, and you agree to a contract with the Philadelphia Eagles, but you decide that's it. You mentioned once you play for the Steelers, You really couldn't envision playing anywhere else. Was
Right.
that a factor, Rob, or did you just kind of get to a point where say, I've done my football life, now it's time for something else?
Yes, it was a little of both. I actually signed with the Kansas City Chiefs once I left with the Steelers, and I was there. And as I mentioned previously before, once you play for the Steelers, man, it's hard to play anywhere else. And every day when I woke up and was going to the football facility, it never felt like work. It felt just like a hobby, and it was something that I loved doing. And when I went to the Kansas City Chiefs, it wasn't the exact same feeling, but it was a great organization to be a part of as well. But my heart just started to shift from football, and it started to go back towards my community. Throughout my NFL career, one of the things that I did often was come back to my hometown and be a source of inspiration and motivation for underserved youth that are growing up in areas similar as myself. So that became my motivation. That became where I felt like, my passion for living life was. And it was at that moment where I just felt like, my football time had come to an end, and I wanted to come back to my hometown and do something special for my community and for children that are growing up in underserved and underprivileged areas.
Well, Rob, let's talk about the Rob Golden Charter Academy. Exactly what is it? Tell us about the eligibility, the ages of the kids. I know right now it goes to the third grade. It's going to expand, I understand.
Correct. Yes. So Golden Charter Academy is the first TK through 8th environmental zoo school in the nation. We have a partnership with the Fresno Chaffee Zoo, which allows us to have a extended laboratory classroom outside of our facility. So we're definitely looking forward to letting children have a world-class educational experience over at the Golden Charter Academy. We will open in August of 2021. Serving grades TK through 3rd, and we will grow a grade every year until we become a TK through 8 school. But currently we have more applicants than positions as far as our registration. So we're gearing up to do our lottery, as I like to call it, a draft, to see who gets into the school, come April 30th. But we're looking forward to hosting families on our campus and giving them the world-class educational opportunities that they would not have had they not came to the Golden Charter Academy.
Rob, are these kids who eventually will be enrolled in the school, are they currently in Fresno public schools? And is the educational process more than just classroom? Are there other elements associated with it?
Yes, so most of the kids are currently enrolled in the traditional public schools here in Fresno. But at the end of the day, Golden Charter Academy, we're a public school as well. We're just a charter school. And with a narrative of environmental stewardship, we want to be able to educate our children on the environment and also give them a hands-on learning experience. We believe that we're changing the paradigm of education at this school. When you think about life and you think about technology, it has forever evolved throughout the times of my life. And, to think about the education system, it has pretty much been the same, where you have a teacher standing up in front of the classroom trying to teach and educate children. But at the end of the day, a lot of our students don't learn that way. And they want to be able to touch, see, and feel, and be engaged, and have their curiosity sparked. So that is what I believe Golden Charter Academy is going to offer. With our place-based education, it doesn't just tailor our children to a classroom, but it allows them to go to the Fresno Chaffee Zoo, to natural habitats, and still be in class. So we're offering a classroom without walls. And then we also utilizing universal design for learning, which allows children to demonstrate their strengths on how they learn. Which I feel is necessary to build up a child's confidence and give them the utmost respect and ability to be able to advance and have a successful, long living life. So that's what I'm looking forward to, is just giving our children that world-class educational opportunity at Golden Charter Academy.
You must be thrilled that the response has been so overwhelming that you have to hold a lottery to see which kids are going to get in. That has to be very gratifying for you.
Absolutely. I think that everyone around in our community understands that it's time for something new, time for something innovative. And it's funny because I started putting this school together in 2018 when I asked for my release from the Kansas City Chiefs. And what I said I wanted to do was create the Disneyland of schools, a school where every child would want to be and succeed. And at that time, I started putting together this place-based education where kids don't have to be inside of a classroom and still be able to receive an advanced education. And then we had COVID hit, and this whole pandemic has broken out. And, it kind of worked in our favor because we had already put a plan together to offer a classroom without walls. And, I believe nowadays that safety is going to definitely take precedence in a lot of school campuses. And the fact that we get to offer our children a world-class educational opportunity, not just inside of a classroom, but could actually take it to the Fresno Chaffee Zoo as well too. I think parents are going to just feel, more comfortable and more safe with sending their children to this school. And we're looking forward to, fulfilling our promises of, offering our children a world-class educational opportunity.
Well, Rob, I can't tell you how admirable I think is what you're doing for your community. We wish you nothing but the greatest of success. It sounds like you're well on your way. Congratulations on a terrific career with the Steelers. Now you're on to your life's work, as Chuck Noll would say. And it's so pleasing and great to have an opportunity to speak with you and give you a chance to talk about your career and your school. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Stan. And I tell you what, I always want to give a special shout out and a special thank you to the Pittsburgh Steelers in itself. They were the ones that gave me this platform to fulfill my life living purpose right now. So definitely thankful for the Steeler Nation and the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. And anytime I get a chance to connect, Stan, it's always a pleasure. So thanks for having me.
It's very, very much our pleasure. Former Steelers safety, Rob Golden. And thanks to Steeler Nation for tuning in.